Okay, we're
We're
live.
live! Oh my god.
Welcome to our discussion of The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Um, if you have your drink, go get your drink, and we're gonna discuss.
I look like a
So
bum.
everybody, introduce yourself. Well, I'll go first. I'm Blake. We're gonna discuss. This is my channel. I'm getting some feedback because I have the YouTube tab open. Oops.
Yeah, I was having feedback.
Yeah, my name is Blake, and I started this book club, and these are my co-hosts, and we're gonna read a lot of awesome books. So,
Who's next?
whoever wants to go next.
Jump in, Tiana. Go.
Okay. Hi, my name's Tiana. My channel is Tiana Kelly. I talk about books, TV, and that's I'm tipsy already. Oh my god. I just
pregame
finished
too.
the book like 2 seconds ago, so give me a second to just process it all in. I attend university at Temple University. I am a history major, and I think that's about it. I'll toss it off to y'all now.
Oh, did you want to go first, Matthew?
I'll go next. Hi, I'm Matthew. Matthew Sciarappa. That's how you pronounce my last name. It's also my channel name. I talk about mostly like depressing literary fiction / occasionally poetry. We don't have happy vibes on my channel. Just kidding. I'm a lot of fun. Hopefully. I don't know. But that's me.
Wow. Okay. Hi, I'm Ace, and my channel is Pin Ace. And honestly, I feel a little underdressed. All my co-hosts look amazing. And
You look great too, Ace.
I'm just feeling comfy. It's so cold in my room.
Ace, I have a collared shirt on, but I'm fully just wearing sweatpants.
But yeah, it's the same as everyone. I talk about books and like TV and stuff on my channel, but that's about it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's just get right into it. So let's talk a little like non-spoilery things first for people who maybe haven't caught up and read everything. Yeah, we realized that not everybody was able to finish the book, so we're going to talk about general overall thoughts first. And yes, Ace's hair looks great. I think we can all appreciate that. Yeah, so what did you guys think of the book? And Tiana, maybe you go first since you just finished.
Okay, so for me at the beginning, I did the audiobook because I'm an Audible fiend for one, and two, I have to read 27 chapters a day for my history courses, which I hate already. So I was sad. I was like, man, you're asking for too much for me. So at the beginning, I was like, oh my god, it's like Nanny McPhee. Is he gonna come in and fix the whole like? I genuinely thought it was like Nanny McPhee, and then we got into it, and I was like, oh my god, no, this is really cute. I like this a lot. It was like a good. And today I cried a lot. So like for this book was like a good like warm hug I needed to get through this week. I'm trying to think. My favorite character was probably Lucy. One, because I love the show Lucifer, and he like really embodied like a young Lucifer I feel like he would be as a child. And then you have Author, which love Author, and that's all I'm gonna say for the non-spoilery section.
Okay. Ace, do you want to go next?
Oh my god, I have so much thoughts about it, but like for non-spoiler, I did enjoy it a lot. I feel like there were a lot of moments where I almost teared up because it was like happy tears though. It was like really wholesome, and like Tiana said, it was like a warm hug. Yeah.
I was just full on sobbing like most of the book. I like feel emotions like very like heavily. Because I'm a very empathetic person, and so like when characters are going through shit, I am just like fully in it with them, and so just my heart was just broken and then reformed and then broken again. And this book was beautiful. It's probably like after I finished it, I loved it so much that honestly, I feel like it's one of my new favorite books of all time. And I know that's like a high bar. It really is, but I feel like it's exactly what I needed, and I loved it so much.
That's so nice. No, I really liked it. I finished writing up my Instagram review for it, and I described it as just like the thing that like Tumblr fandom dreams are made of. Like this is like I can imagine myself at like 14, 15 picking up this book and just going full diehard fan casting, concept art. It fully warrants fandom, and I think that is only speaks to its joy. It is just such a joyful, warm and cozy, tearjerker, like delightful a book, and I thought it was just so fun, so absolutely fun. I also listened to the audiobook. I had some struggles with the audiobook. The narrator, if you're deciding between physical and or audio, the narrator does a lot of voices, and I'm talking like lisps or drawls or Jersey accents. But like, why are we suddenly in New Jersey for just one character? Like, things like that. I'm like, okay, calm down. Like, I get it. You can do the voices. You went to acting school. Grab your BFA. Record that novel. We're good to go.
I love the narrator. I thought they were like putting in the work. Okay.
That's a very positive spin on it. Putting in the work.
I do agree with you though. Like the whole like fandom aspect on it. I wish every kid, like freshman year of high school, read this book, because again, the great disappointment of high school in itself, because it's not like the musical. This book was just like a nice warm hug that freshmen could need going into the real world of high school.
Which, like, maybe I'm jumping the gun in saying this, but what I find so fascinating about this book, it's not a spoiler by any means, the main character is like a grown-ass man. Like, the main character and the main interest and the main focus of this book is a grown adult. And what I find so exciting about it is because it's written in this like very, very close third person, you get both children characters, young characters, and you get these adult characters mixed in. So despite the focus being older, more mature, you also have an ability to like grasp onto any age. So I find this to be very universal. It could be YA as much as it could be adult fantasy, as much as it could be anything else, because the focus is so close. You can kind of choose your favorite parts. Again, speaking to the fandom elements.
Matthew, I'm just like really curious. Who was the New Jersey accent for?
Oh, the woman who takes takes him into the department heads, like the one who's like, oh, you're here to see the upper management.
The bubblegum girl.
Also, yeah, and then also his neighbor, he did like a full Harvey Firestein, like raspy voice for it. She's like, oh, I guess you're moving in next door. Like, oh, where's my, you know, it's just like, it was just a lot.
No, and I love how she would bring up like the property value. And I was looking at TJ Klune's little bio here, and it said he worked for an insurance company. I'm like, oh my god, it's clicking. It's coming full circle for me.
Oh, that makes so much sense now.
Yes. I was like, why do we care about bureaucracy and home and property value? I was like, oh, insurance company. Got it. It makes more sense now.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so something that I really loved is, to me, it felt like such a fairy tale. Like, it felt like half grounded in the real world, but also not. Like, even the portions that were in like the bureaucratic, like the government, like Dacomi, it just felt like what a kid would imagine an office to look like,
right? And
like what they were going through, you know?
Yeah. Fully, like, I don't know if anybody's seen Pushing Daisies. This gave me full Pushing Daisies vibes. Like, it's a very whimsical, magical world, but like with adult problems. And very much, I think the vibe and energy of it was also that kind of like storytelling fairy tale feel. So yeah, fully on board with that.
Oh my gosh, Tiana, that was so smooth the way you...
I've been knitting recently, and my arthritis has become manageable now. But I guarantee it's going to cramp up again before tonight. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, so do we want to kind of get into the more spoilery section and discussion questions?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Okay. I have a question for all of you. Or do you want to start?
Okay. No, you got. I found a list online that I'm going to pull from. So if you have a question, just go ahead and
What's everyone's favorite scene? Or like chapter, I guess I could ask. What's everyone's favorite chapter?
Okay.
Okay, I feel like Blake's going to go in hard, so I'm going to go in soft. Okay, unless AC you want to go.
I'll go last.
Matthew, you can go first.
Okay, because I feel like I have a soft scene. I have like a very a softer moment before we go into like the hard-hitting ones. When everyone's talking about roundness and the main character being described as round, And he is described as a warm, round egg with pale limbs. And I say this because, one, that was just such an attack, and that's what I'm going to now, from this day forward, put in my dating profile, because I am a warm, round egg with pale limbs. But also, what I loved about it was just such a childlike moment of acceptance and joy, where like all of the kids were like, yeah, we love eggs, we like round things, I'm round, you're round, we're all round. And I think that very simple take on body image and experience in the world was just lovely. Like, it was just a really soft moment that was silly and was fun, but also reminded me how simple loving yourself can be. So I really liked that. That was my favorite scene, despite it being such a small moment.
No, I totally agree. Twitter. I take my life advice from Twitter sometimes. Don't judge me. And people like to say, like, when we go into our teenage years, we want to be an adult. And then we realize in adulthood, we want to just like be the simplistic child that we were, enjoying the things that we love and continue to do that. I'm just like, oh, the simplicity of what you just said, of like round egg, and just like them taking a spin on it and being a childlike, and just the simplicity of their comments and just taking it all in and like going on a deeper but like simple level.
Wow. Oh my god. I feel like my favorite scene is not as deep as everyone else's. I just really like that scene when I think Lucy goes to get Linus, and then basically they go on an adventure, but then they go in the forest, and then they're doing like a, goodbye party for him, and then Arthur and him have that small dance, and like, I don't know, it was such a happy moment. I know there's a lot of those in the book, but like that one was like the pinnacle of it.
Tiana,
Okay.
do you want to go?
Yeah. I guess mine was chapter 15 of just like the adventure and like going into the city or the town, and then the ice cream parlor part, and then just Lucy, like, again, has a special place in my heart. I love Lucy. Just like, he doesn't have like a morality conflict going on in his head. He just wants to like feel loved and know that he has a backup system to support him, and just like that concept there, I'm like, oh, it's so sweet.
Okay, so I'm a cheater. I have two favorite scenes. One is a softer scene, and it's the moment when Sal takes Linus and has him move the desk.
Oh.
Tears. That was my there's just so much that I loved about that, so much subtle like character like moments, and I just love Sal, because like at first he was like a softer character, like we didn't know that much about him, like the other characters kind of like were bigger and louder and like more lovable right at first, but then Sal just like snuck up on you and just stole your heart. I just hate that like he had been abused, and then like this was like him finding ways to like reach out and interact again, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it.
Oh my god.
Don't cry.
Like I said, I cry very easily. And then just my flat out favorite moment in the entire book is when Linus stood up to like upper management in Takomi and just like went off on them. Like he was saying everything that like he had been wanting to say for years and years, and everything that like had like was needed to be said. And like I felt like if I had read this book when I was younger, it would have just like it would have helped me like a lot in like a lot of different areas. Just because it's like just like fighting prejudice is something that I think, we all like know, and like the good ones, like we fight prejudice, but there's a lot of subtle prejudice that kind of sneaks its way in. And I think Takomi kind of represented a lot of really like well done subtle prejudice. Like it was there, but it was kind of understated, like in the way that the signs and the posters were just kind of like a part of everyday life in the town, but it inflamed the hatred in like the residents. And I don't know, it was just really well done. And there was like a couple quotes. I know we're gonna have a quote section later, but I'm gonna just share a few right now, because when he says, when Linus is talking to them and says, "Change starts with the voices of the few. I will be one of those few because they taught me how, and I know that I'm not alone." Oh wow.
Do you need to get some tissue, Blake?
No, I'm good. Shut up.
Here I am, like I'm sadistic. I'm like, cry, Blake, cry on camera.
Cry on our live show.
Thank you.
No, but I feel you on the like being at that. Oh, we're gonna do your quotes. I don't want to stop you.
No, that was the
I
one.
I feel you on the reading this at different times in our lives. I had to grow up really quickly and learn some things about family issues, and I had to like set that boundary. And like I was 15 at that time, and like if I had this book, I'd have been like, wow, I was doing the right thing instead of like feeling like I was the black sheep in the family, like I was causing all these problems. But no, it was generational stuff that needed to stop with me. And I'm just like, oh, Sal, I just want to give you a big hug and let you know it's okay.
Is everyone gonna cry?
I'm good.
It's gonna be me. It's gonna be. I'm gonna cry by the end of the broadcast.
Like, to TJ Klune's credit, and writing this kind of like grown-up fairy tale, I don't know the last novel that I've read where I was so able to have that cathartic, satisfying ending. Like, in real life, you don't get to say the thing that you want to say. You don't get to have the big speech that changes everything. You don't get, like, all of that is just so unrealistic. But in the world that TJ Klune has built, it is able to happen. It is satisfying. And in many ways, with regard to the stakes that he has set up, is believable within the confines of the book. So I think I really also like that moment, because I don't remember the last time that I got to see something like that. And I think it's always good to be reminded that you can be a hero at any age. I think that's a nice messaging. And also, TJ Klune writes really good dialogue. That speech was so fun. And I think it was really strong.
Agreed. Sorry, I'm looking for my quotes. Don't judge me.
Yeah, that's what I was looking to. I was looking at my quotes just to be prepared.
I have a procrastination problem, okay?
Oh, no, same. Okay, so before we get into like the written discussion questions, I have two things that I would like to ask you guys. Number one, I think we already know Tiana's answer, but who is your favorite child, if you can pick a favorite?
I don't know how you pronounce the name. Is it like Chauncey?
Chauncey, yeah.
Chauncey!
I love him.
He just wants the simplicity in life. He just wants to be a bellhop. I'm like, dude.
Yeah, when I was imagining him, I was imagining like the blue blob from Monsters vs. Aliens.
Yeah, same. With the one, yeah.
He's so
no.
I loved Lucy, but I'm also a little gay boy, so of course I'm going to love Lucy. I'm supposed to. Like, it is scripted for me to love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I loved all of the children. I loved Talia. I loved her moment with Helen in the gardening store when she's like, "What? There's new magazines? You've been keeping this from me?" I was laughing so hard. I love Lucy, but Chauncey and Sal, of course. But Chauncey, just there's something so just like so wholesome about him wanting to be a bellhop, and then like when he went into town, and then like in the end when like the bellhop was like letting him take shifts, I was like,
so Blake's favorite character is all of them.
Yeah. I'm a cheater. What can I say?
I mean, to be honest, I do love all the children, but Arthur is my favorite. I love Arthur. I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite tropes. Yeah, exactly. Like, it's one of my favorite tropes. It's like kind of like the put together madman, like the put together kind of like fop, the flamboyant one. I like that trope. I like his character, and I think TJ Klune executed it so well. So he was my fave.
I love the ending. Ace, what are you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say I really like Zoe too. Like, she's not one of the kids, but the way she just helps them, like, and the way she treats like Fee as like her own, like that's just so nice.
Yeah. And also Theodore with the buttons. Somebody in the chat was mentioning, but Theodore loved Theo with the buttons. I think TJ did a really great job of getting us to know and care about all the characters kind of equally. Arthur, like, his backstory is just so sad. Like, the fact that he was like abused and kept in that basement, and then like he then wanted to like make a home where people like him were able to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, Arthur's an interesting one because I feel like his moments of dialogue, his moments of interaction, they're so strong. But like at the end of the day, like let's break this down imagery wise. He is a flaming man who was trapped in a basement and then had to escape. Right? Like we're getting some very on the nose imagery with regard to Arthur's character. And while it is never like explicitly stated that that is what's going on, like literal Phoenix reclaiming the slur here. Like, I mean, come on. Like, I guess everything goes back to the fact that this is an adult fairy tale, but like, I both love and am frustrated by it because I feel like he has a lot more nuance in his interactions, but like his framing as a character, and I'm like, oh, okay, we get, like, I get it. Calm down.
There was like numerous times because I wrote my thoughts down while I was reading, and I was just like, there's so many times where I was like, this is so fucking gay. Like especially like when they were flirting while arguing about Kant, I was like, this is the gayest shit. Like,
oh my god.
Am I the only? I'm the only straight person here. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oops. Also, this is a weird kind of comparison, but this book really reminded me of the tone of the movie Klaus. If any of you have seen Klaus,
no.
Have anybody? Nobody seen Klaus?
Wait.
It's a Netflix movie.
I'm thinking of Author Christmas.
I'm about to look it up right now.
Okay, y'all gotta go watch Klaus. If you have not seen Klaus, Klaus is amazing. It's this animated movie. It was nominated for an Oscar. It's so beautiful. But
just
yeah,
going off about now.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just like it's very much like it's very like House in the Cerulean Sea. It's got like the kind of grayish atmosphere in the beginning, and then as the main character comes in and starts to learn and know about the people, more color, and like he gets to know everybody better, and it feels like home. And I just wanted to throw that out
fans
there.
In the chat. So Klaus fans in the chat, thank you for speaking up, making Blake feel welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm validated.
I'm just not cultured. Oh, that's all it is. I'm not cultured.
And yes, I would love to see an animation film have House in Cerulean Sea in like the same style. It would be amazing.
Oh, like full out Coraline vibes is what I would want. Something that's just like a little bit unsettling.
Stop. I'm a pussy. I cannot watch Coraline. I literally cannot watch it. At my right age, I cannot. I literally get scared.
Okay.
Okay. So let's get into the discussion questions now because I have them all written down like fancy. Okay, so the first one.
Oh, it looks like paragraphs. What the heck?
Oh yeah, they're very long. It's weird. Okay. So the first one is, as an employee of Takomi, Linus Baker works under very rigid rules and restrictions, and that's literally the handbook he refers to quite often. He constantly is being monitored, yet he still manages to produce quality work. Why does he push through working under such pressure? And if you were in his shoes, would you be able to work under those conditions?
He needs a character trait for TJ Klune to write him out of. That's the reason.
Yeah.
Sorry, is that like way too cynical? Like, there were so many moments where he showed immense character growth, and I do think he has immense character growth, especially toward the end. But like, there were moments where it was so unrealistic, at least to me, for him to be like, but I have to do things right. And I'm like, no, honey, we're already past that. Like, stop pretending like this is an actual concern of yours. So that maybe that's just my cynical brain reacting to that. But also I think it is hashtag very relatable to hate your job and feel conflicted about that. But also very millennial, at least, to like burn yourself out because you can't do anything not 110%. Like, I feel like that's like, if this is TJ Klune's kind of demographic and his experience, I think that's kind of also what he's writing for. So I do feel like it is also that.
Could you go through it?
Oh, okay. Are you gonna say something?
No, I was saying, but like, could you go through it personally, or like?
Could I? Okay, well, the stuff on the island, yes, but like his actual job, no. And honestly, one of the bravest things that I thought he did is when he left the island, confronted Takomi, and then worked there for like a bit to like help all like of like the kids and the other homes that he realized that he had the power to help. Like, that was more powerful to me than if he had been like, I'm never going back to Takomi and like I'm gonna forget all about it. Like, he was able to use his power to help other people who were vulnerable, and like that is just like so like courageous in a way, like in his own way. And I just really love that about Linus. Could I do that? If I had to ever work at an office job, you would never see me again. Like, I could never. Ace, what about you?
Oh, I was just gonna say, God, I kind of forgot my trail of thought, but I was just gonna say that, like, because he works that way is because of his age. Like, I would, like, it's really hard to, like, think of other ways to, like, branch out of, like, where you are from now. And, like, he's already comfortable in his own little bubble, like they said. And so, like, I'm really happy, like, in the book, though, like, it really shows how he breaks out of that.
Okay,
I would never.
So the next question. The next question is, Linus is a very lonely man, and prior to him investigating the Marsyas Island orphanage, his only friend and family is his aloof cat, Calliope. While building a family and a home becomes important for Linus as the story progresses, why wasn't this a priority in his past? Why is he so isolated as an adult, and do you think this can be attributed to what his home life was like growing up? Wow, that was a deep question.
That was a mouthful.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, I think it is very characteristic of queer people to not feel comfortable trying to find connection. If you have been met with hatred, if you've been met with fear, if you've been met with internalized problems with regard to your sexuality, seeking romance alone is already going to be so hard, right? And then also friendship, secrets. I don't know. I feel like it is. I feel like queer people have oftentimes a harder time reaching out because of the fear of being burned. And that usually comes from having experienced that. So to the question of his past, I don't imagine him to have had it easy by any means. I also feel like there's a certain amount of safety in homeostasis. There's a certain amount of safety in just doing the same thing every day instead. Because if you don't risk, and this is definitely a theme of the book, if you don't risk the relationship, you don't have to hurt if it fails. So.
In a way, this reminded me of, Tiana, you go.
Sorry, there was this one line in the book where he was like, why was I fearing on what was already like a thing when I was fearing on what it could have been when I was already having a good time? And I was like, oh, that's so cute. Okay, continue, sorry. I was just gonna say that in a way, this reminded me of one of my favorite books from last year, Less. Funny enough, his name was Arthur Less. But Arthur Less, I think, is a very similar character to Linus Baker in the fact that they're both kind of like middle-aged gay men who just like struggle in a lot of ways with like loneliness. And so like it was funny because coming into this book, I was like, oh my God, I'm getting a redux of this. Like my heart can't take it. And spoiler alert, my heart could not take it. I cried. But yeah, I just like Linus was like, he just felt like he had never really like started living his life until he got to the orphanage. Like, and I think that was like kind of very deliberately done. Like it felt like he had been doing the same thing. Like we get a snippet of his life in the beginning and we like can just imagine that every other day in his life up until this point has been pretty similar. And so then like going into this, it just felt like him wakening up as a person. And that was just so wholesome and I loved it. I was actually during the Supreme Court ruling of gay marriage, I was reading articles of people that started their lives when the federal court said you can marry who you want, and people didn't start getting married and like having kids and like finding options because they felt so cornered into their shell of life. And for Linus and Arthur to just like have that, you know, I'm gonna cry. I'm too tipsy for this.
There's gonna be two of us. Let's down.
I cried too much today. Nope.
What? Oh my God.
Okay.
Do you need a moment? Okay.
We're good.
Okay, Ace, do you want to pick up?
Go ahead. ahead. Go ahead.
Skip Tiana. She's about to cry.
I was just gonna say, like, probably the reason why he hasn't. I mean, everyone has made really great points, and then again, like the whole fact that, like, you know, at his age, he even said it in the beginning, like at his age, like how can he worry about stuff like that anymore? And then the way like people treat him around him, like that no one's really showing any interest in him, so he just thinks like, who has the time for that, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's also like his neighbor's son.
Like, it's like, but there's something to be said about like he also just like doesn't feel hot. Like he feels round. He feels not attractive, and that alone will kill any drive to go out and meet people. And like, you know, warm round egg with pale limbs, not feeling too sexy.
But like, okay, his chemistry with Arthur was just ridiculous. Like when Arthur was just like, I'm like actually seeing you and you're amazing, and he was like, what?
Right.
I wish I could experience something like that. Like, damn.
I mean, well, Arthur's literally inhuman, so that helps. But
brings us to reality a little bit.
But also, I think again that kind of speaks to what I was talking about earlier. This like childlike simplicity of loving yourself. It's so easy. Everyone else thinks that roundness is good, but you've been taught to think that roundness is bad. Therefore, you hate roundness, despite your entire surroundings saying otherwise. So for Arthur to say like, "I see you," one, that's just very romantic, and then two, it's also just like it's simple. It is very simple.
Okay, well, let me ask another question. There's quite a lot of these. So, this book is thoroughly endearing, and part of the reason is because of the children. They each have such unique and incredible powers. Whose magical abilities appeal to you most? If you were to choose your own magical powers, what would they be and why?
Based off the book or just like any magical power?
The first question is based off the book. The second one is just in general.
Okay.
So do both.
Is it bad that I want to say Lucy? Like I want Lucy's powers. What the heck?
I mean, to be honest, I don't want anybody else's. I feel like part of the joy of the magic in this book is that their magical abilities are so personal to them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like, yeah, it'd be fun to like be able to cast spells and grow trees and like do things like that. But like, part of the narrative is a coming out narrative with regard to self-acceptance and regard to the weird quote unquote parts about yourself. So like,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why I would feel comfortable taking what Lucy has, because I would rather find something that's like special to me if that's the way that this magic system works.
Okay, Matthew. So what power would you have? Or would you want
mind control. Easy.
We have a supervillain in the making over here, folks.
Wait, hold on. Matthew, what's your star sign?
I'm a Leo.
Yeah, that makes sense. I can see.
Okay, wait. I'm a Virgo. What are y'all?
I'm a Capricorn.
We're going through it.
I'm a Gemini.
You're a Gemini? Geminis are always shy.
I'm not shy though. I'm just quiet because my internet sucks.
He said if my internet was better.
It's popping.
What do you mean?
Okay, Tiana, what would your power be?
Okay, so Matthew kind of like took the fun out of it a little bit because I don't want to steal anyone's power. So in true Capricorn fashion, it would have to be telekinesis, because I'm really good at like reading people a little bit, so I want to like test my knowledge and see how good I am at it.
Okay. Ace?
Can I say firebender?
Ooh!
Yeah, you can.
Yes. That would be something.
I'm spicy.
I would say, y'all in the chat, teleporting would be awesome. However, if I wasn't able to teleport, either being able to understand/speak every language would be very helpful, or shapeshifting. I would love to shapeshift because then I could turn into a bird and fly away. I could be an octopus. I could be another person. You would never see me again. I would just become everybody. I'd disappear into the crowd and you'd be like, where's Blake? And I'd be like, I'm Matthew now.
Okay,
Like,
who would you want?
Why would you want that?
Who would you want to shapeshift into besides Matthew, I guess?
Oh my god, are you kidding me? I would be someone like super hot, like Zac Efron, and then just like do something like completely out of character. Like I would be like Zac Efron, and then I would go down to like the bakery store and flirt with some random girl and like make her life. And then I would shapeshift into like oh my god, why can I not think of like I can't think of a woman.
I'm sorry. You're granted the power of shape-shifting. You're granted the immaculate power of shape-shifting. You could change the world. But instead, you want to go down to a bakery and lead some straight girl on? That's what you want to do with your almighty power of shape-shifting?
We're already confused, okay?
Okay, I'm a little tipsy, so do not take what I'm saying. Take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Okay, back to the book. So Linus and Lucy bond over their love of music, and artists such as the Everly Brothers, Sam Cooke, Bobby Darin, the Coasters, Little Richard, the Big Bopper, and Buddy Holly are frequently mentioned. Why is music such a large part of the story, and what role does it play in the characters' lives?
Ooh, that's a really interesting question.
Well, I think that if we're talking about gay culture, quote unquote, gay culture is very reference based in terms of like knowing who artists are, knowing who actors are. When you think of like the RuPaul's Drag Race version of what gay culture is, it's all references. And I think that to connect upon, like to connect on those things is just really nice. To connect on like universally accepted references is just a nice thing. I also like the idea of Lucy just being like an old soul. I think that that's just young and queer. I think that music is something that is very timeless, and therefore that is something that they can connect over. So I think I think it's TJ Klune hinting at like the way that gay culture works, quote unquote. But then I also think it's just like it is a true element of that any age could bond over. Any age can relate to music and enjoy it at once.
Yeah. I love the fact that like Lucy and Linus, like that was their thing that they bonded over, because like Linus is just so scared of Lucy, but then like he was able to be like, oh, he likes the same music that I do, and then when they went to the record store, like they were looking for the same. Like it was just like that was really, I love that.
I like how Lucy used the music as like a I wouldn't like a grounding technique for him during the nightmares and just like living through day to day. I had to write quotes and like everywhere to like get through my classes because I would dissociate during my classes, and just how he had music. I'm like, if you have music, if you have hope, it'll keep you going, and that's what Lucy had. And I was like, oh, my baby.
Yeah, kind of what Tiana said. Like, I really like that about like how they wrote music in as kind of like a grounding thing for him, and like. I don't know. It was like really sad, like reading about how he says like, "Oh, what am I gonna do now? My records are broken. The spiders are gonna come back in my mind." And I was like, "Oh, that's so sad."
Like at first the spiders in my head was kind of like a funny quote that I laughed at, but then like as it went on, I was like, "Oh, like this is something that's like very traumatic for him." Like it's like the spiders are coming. Like it was just done in like a very childlike way, where it's just like. He said it very offhandedly at first, and you're just kind of like, oh, haha, he's being a kid. But then, like, it came back, and you're like, oh, this is, like, something that's, like, really affecting him.
And I think it goes
I think... You go.
Sorry. I just thought, I think it goes to show how, like, here I am talking about my trauma, you know, offhandedly, but, like, it's a real thing that affects me, you know? And how therapy every Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, I had therapy today. And how I can... have deeper meanings, different meanings in how I portray my trauma across to different people. You know, like I deal with it in my way, and I have, you know, my deprecating humor, and it's not always funny. But in how Lucy deals with it, and how you see him physically dealing with it in the nightmare, I'm like, oh my god! Like again, Lucy's my favorite. I'm sorry. All right, Matthew.
But I think it definitely speaks to Lucy's maturity. I think that to be able to be self-deprecating about something that is traumatizing, that is, you know, so hard for you, speaks to maturity. And I think that's what makes his humor so successful in the book throughout, because like said, it does constantly come back. And there are more and more nuanced layers every single time he makes the same jokes.
Yeah, agreed.
Oh, love Lucy. Okay.
I love Lucy.
Let's talk about Chauncey. He's such a lovable and sweet character, as I'm sure we all know. It's clear he wants to grow up and help people. While there are many professions in which people help others, like doctors or firefighters, what about the prospect of a bellhop specifically entices him so much?
I think it's his ability to be liked. You know, because he's told from a young age that he's a monster. And something I'm learning in therapy is like when we're babies, we have this egocentric view of the world, and how like if you're told that you're a sweet, cute, cuddly baby, you will believe that in your mind. And then let's turn that on its head. If you're told that you're a monster, you will believe that you're a monster, and like you really don't have that other world view until you go experience the world and know like you have more value than being a monster. So I think for the bellhop, it's being reliable, kind, and helpful, that he wants to be that type of person in the real world.
Yeah, I also think like if like because he always is like hiding or coming out of things or popping out of places, like that's kind of one of his characteristics. And bellhops kind of do the same thing. Like suddenly they're at your door, or like suddenly they're grabbing your luggage, and like, but it's only a positive. So it's kind of like the same structure. And I don't know if this was intentional or not, but it's just something that popped into my head. It's like it's the same structure of what he is known to do, but in a totally different outcome with a totally different result. Like I think there's something kind of lovely about that it still suits his strengths, quote unquote, but like it's completely different.
I didn't think about it that way. I'm glad that you brought that up. Oh my goodness.
I didn't either until I just said it. So
well, I think it's also just really cool because it's just like an instant source of happiness. You know, it's like he helps someone and he's able to like immediately see how that positively affects somebody. Because I feel like he is the kind of kid who really needs that kind of like positive reinforcement, like kind of constantly. And so that's just like an easy way to get it, because he's like doing small tasks to be helpful. Like I loved when he was just like, Linus, I need to do your laundry. Do not do your laundry. Please let me do your laundry. Like that was great. And then every time he was like, he would do a little thing and then he was like, give me a tip.
I'm sorry, I accidentally lost your laundry, Mr. Baker. That part was really cute.
I love that about him so much. I feel like he wants to be a bellhopper because then like, again, like Matthew said, he pops up anywhere, but also like being able to help people like in almost every aspect that you need to be helped, and like doing laundry and like unpacking your luggage. I've never heard of anyone do that, but he does that. And it's like, I don't know, it's so wholesome, like just for like a kid to like want to like help people without basically just a tip back.
I loved when Linus first got to the to like his little house, his little cabin, and like all his laundry was put away and he was freaking out. He was like, what is going on? It's all folded. What the heck? Okay, we'll move on. So each of the characters in this book have different fears to work through and conquer. Arthur fears for the safety and well-being of the children. Linus fears stepping out of his comfort zone and truly being seen. The villagers fear the magical powers the children possess, and that fear manifests into hate. Do you think that the characters face their fears in beneficial ways? How do you deal with your fears? And do you feel like you can relate to any of the characters' ways of coping?
Ooh.
That's ooh.
Yeah, that was a lot to just.
Let's break it down.
Break it down. I think that well, I'll start. I think that a lot of the characters they were coping with their fears in the best way that they knew how. The villagers maybe not. But I love that Helen took them to task and was like yelling at her nephew, like, "Shut up! You don't have a broken neck. Like, go back to like doing whatever." Like, I loved Helen. But also I love that Helen was just casually lesbian, like, or queer. That was great. She was like her and oh my gosh,
Zoe.
Thank you. Her and Zoe. I love that. Anyways, getting back on track. Yeah, I think the characters, like, they had their fears, and I think the strongest fear that all the children felt was the fact that, like, they didn't want to lose their home, and that, like, they liked Linus, but, like, underneath, like, them liking Linus, there was, like, that constant fear of, like, he might cause us to, like, lose our home. And so I think that was very realistic, and it was done in, like, a very subtle way where it would only pop up every now and then, but you could tell it was constantly on the children's minds.
I also loved how much they relied on one another, that their relationships with one another were so strong, even more so possibly than their relationships with Arthur. That while they, like, with Arthur, there was, like, a level of respect, right? They listened to him. When he said stop, they stopped. But, like, with each other, there was a lot more play and a lot more camaraderie and a lot more, siblinghood. And Lucy, I thought that is like, but, like, each pairing had their own little thing, and they all understood each other's quirks. And, like, I think that is just, that speaks to, I mean, this is the island of misfit toys, and, like, these people are all coming together, and, like, what better way to cope with fear in the world than to find a community?
Yeah, I feel like they deal with it in a pretty healthy way, and, like, their quirks are, like, how they deal with it. Like Talia with her garden, and then Fee, like, practicing with her magic in the forest with Zoe, and then Sal with his writing, which I absolutely love. And then Theodore with, like, his hoard. And then Lucy with music. Like, I think those are really, like, healthy way of, like, coping with that fear. And then not only that, but they get, like, control over themselves as magical individuals. And yeah, it's just so nice. And this whole book is so wholesome.
Yeah. I feel like we should get. Have you all seen Umbrella Academy?
No.
Darn. Okay, so I just feel like if I could give this book to the characters in Umbrella Academy, they would just learn a lot from it.
I mean, very different circumstances.
Yes. Y'all touched on a lot. I think this, like, the how they deal with their fears, like, and their quirks, and, like, the camaraderie of community and dealing with not being othered, I feel like if you've ever done a sport or, like, had to, like, team up with somebody because you hated your coach or your boss, that's the best camaraderie you'll ever have in your life. I played 2 sports, okay? It was hell on earth. And just, like, the first 2 weeks we would run 5 miles. No, first 2 weeks we run, like, 15 miles a week, and I hated it. And it would make us bond because we were mad at the coaches for making us run. And when you have someone fearing you and hating you and pushing you in this spot, you are forced to, like, be friends and have this community, but also you have a choice in how you want to have that community being built, There was that dumb show on Disney Channel, Liv and Maddie, Sisters by Chance, Friends by Chance.
I'm out.
Okay, so I think we're going to move on from the overall questions, just because there's more, and I want to keep us around an hour. We might go a little over, it's fine. But I think we're going to talk about our favorite quotes now, just because I feel like, I don't know. Talking about favorite quotes is a good way to understand how we best felt about the novel. So if anybody would like to start, we can just go around and just share a couple. And then we'll move on to audience questions, and you guys will be able to ask us some questions, and we'll try to answer to the best of our ability. So quotes and then audience questions.
I have, like,
to go first?
Yeah,
you
go.
want to go first?
Okay, yeah, you go first.
Okay, Tiana, and then I'll go.
Okay. One.
Pass it. Start with one.
Okay. We should always make time for the things we like. If we don't, we might forget how to be happy.
Oh. That's just nice.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
Remind you, I have to read 27 chapters every 2 days for one course. I really am not liking this class.
Okay, mine was, there are mysteries that may never be solved, no matter how hard we try. And if we spend too long trying to solve them, we may miss what's right in front of us.
That's amazing. Okay, I'm going to share kind of a sad one. It was like right near the beginning of the novel, and it made me cry like right off the bat. And I was like, okay, I love this book. So if one were to ask if Linus Baker was lonely, he would have scrunched up his face in surprise. The thought would be foreign, almost shocking. And though the smallest of lies hurt his head and made his stomach twist, there was a chance he would still say no, even though he was, and almost desperately so. I'm going to cry. And maybe part of him would believe it. He'd accepted long ago that some people, no matter how good their heart was or how much love they had to give, would always be alone. It was their lot in life, and Linus had figured out at the age of 27 that it seemed to be that way for him. Oh, there was no specific event that brought along this line of thinking. It was just that he felt dimmer than others, like he was faded in a crystal clear world, and he wasn't meant to be seen.
He's crying.
I'm gonna cry. I think that was just like the perfect quote to describe Linus Baker's character just as a whole. Just like he knew that like he mattered, but he didn't know if he mattered to anybody else, and that's why like it mattered so much when Arthur saw him. And I think there was even a couple quotes where Linus was like, he sees me, and like his world like was colorful, and like that just made my little gay heart melt. Okay, like.
Oh, you're all like really nice and good people, and I don't. Okay, so I'm not like a quotes person. I like quotes. I just don't like cling to them when I'm reading. But I did find like a small little joke passage that I think speaks to. It's just a thing. Okay, this is embarrassing. Okay, so when we said that we were going to do quotes, I pulled out something that I thought was like indicative of my experience reading the text and why I found the book to be fun. This is the scene. Besides, it was a perfectly lovely day. Perhaps it would do him some good to be outside in all this sunshine. 10 minutes later, he wished for death. I think like these like I pulled that just because like I love this book's ability to just like do these like record scratch, turn to camera, like funny moments, and I found that to be the most successful version of humor. So that's the quote I pulled. I just thought it was really funny.
That is pretty funny.
Oh my god. Does anybody else have any other quotes they'd like to share? Let's go around. Let's go again.
All right, let's pull her up. A home isn't the house we live in. It is also the people we choose to surround ourselves with. We may not live on this island, but you can't tell me it's not your home. You bubble, Mr. Baker. It's been popped. Or your bubble, Mr. Baker, it's been popped. Why would you allow it to grow around you again? I had to learn at a young age that blood does not mean you are my actual family sometimes. And I had to find found family outside of mine, and that's all I'm going to say about my life currently on the internet. But yeah.
You're gonna cry again?
No,
we're gonna cry.
No.
Tears?
I went to therapy. We're good.
Ace and I are just cold-hearted.
Yeah, pretty much. Like this
Ace,
warmed
did
my
you have
heart.
any other?
Yeah. I have this one other quote, which is pretty, also kind of wholesome, which is, little treasures we find without knowing their origin, and they come when we least expect them. It's beautiful when you think about it. He loves it dearly, and that was very kind of you. And that was when he gave Theodora the button. And I don't know, that one really stuck with me because I feel like, especially being in a pandemic right now, we tend to like miss the little things. This one just really jumped out because it applies right now. Like we always, like everyone is just like missing out and like looking for like, oh, going out to like do like all these big things, but like there's so much you can do with the little things you have at home. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to
not gonna cry though.
Here's the Sal one from the Sal scene. When Sal said sometimes things get chipped and broken, but they're still good in them. And Linus says, adds character, I think, allows for a reminder of a memory, which was just great. But then again, I'm gonna skip towards the end. So then we like have just the moment where I'm just like sobbing the whole time towards the end. And Linus is like, how could he have been so foolish? How could he have ever thought he could leave this place? It was color, bright and warm, and his heart felt like it was finally beating again. He hadn't realized he'd left it behind. He should have known. He should have realized. Why am I crying again? And then Arthur says to Linus, we're not alone. We never have been. We have each other. If I were to leave again, I would wish, or no, this is Linus. But if I were to leave again, I would wish I were here. I don't want to wish anymore. If you'll have me, I would like to stay for always. And then the last line of the book. Sometimes he thought to himself, in a house in a cerulean sea, you were able to choose the life you wanted. And if you were of the lucky sort, sometimes that life chose you back. Okay, I'm just done. That's it. Goodbye.
Blake has left the chat.
I'm waiting for Tiana to cry.
No, in February, I'm gonna cry. I swear. Like in February for our book, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, and we're gonna announce that after the question. So if I think we're gonna move on from quotes now. So if viewers watching, if you guys have questions, type them quickly in the chat below, and we will answer them before doing our announcements and ending our very first live show. So we're waiting.
Maybe I can share it one more time for y'all, just for y'all, you know?
Oh, so pretty late.
Also, I just love the chat as a whole. Oh, you asked the wrong question. Are you ready? I mean, the right question, but so I'll go first because I'm annoying about it. So hello.
Yep.
Here we go. Brandon Sanderson, hello. If you have not heard, I am the cult leader of the Brandon Sanderson cult, and all of his books are amazing, and the Cosmere is great, and it's some of the best books I've ever read. Favorite writer. Period. He's my favorite, but I also have other favorites who I can't think of right now because I'm tipsy. So
I'm like,
pass. Who's next?
Don't look at me. I'm looking up.
Sure, I'll go next. My favorite author is Kyung-Suk Shin. She's a Korean author in translation. I really love Intozaki Shanghai. If you've ever read Sassafras, Cypress, and Indigo, great book. Again, these are all like mostly depressing literary fiction titles and authors. Because that's my jam. I love Deborah Levy. I think she's so talented. You know, tons of names I could throw out if you're interested.
Yeah. Also, I would say Stephen King. I grew up on Stephen King, and he informed a lot of who I am as a writer. I love horror. So there are some great horror authors out there like Paul Tremblay. There's a lot of awesome, just honestly, I have been loving every Leigh Bardugo book that I've read. She's amazing. And yeah, there's just a lot of great writers out there. Ace, Tiana, would you like to?
Oh, it's my turn now?
You can go first if you want.
Please.
Give Tiana some time. She needs some time.
Well, this author only released one trilogy, but I really like their writing, which is R.F. Kuang, because she wrote The Poppy War. And so I can't wait for her Oxford novel.
Her Oxford novel.
Yeah. And then also Rick Riordan. Like, that's an autobiography right there.
Percy Jackson is the shit. He's amazing. Okay.
I guess it's my turn now. I'm gonna go with Susan Dennard, Jennifer L. Armentrout, Rebecca Roanhorse is a new favorite.
Yes.
She did the damn thing. Oh my gosh. And then like some classics that I love, Cassandra Clare. TDI makes me cry every single time. That was my dorm.
I just started Immortal Instruments. I'm on book 2. It's pretty fun.
It's a great time. It's a great time. I was in my dorm crying, and my roommate was like, T, are you okay? And I was like,
okay, we have another question. Do y'all think you want to reread this book? Yes. Yeah. The answer is yes for me. I feel like if I ever need like a pick-me-up, like a book that I know I can just fall back into and will make me feel good, this is going to be the book.
Wait, y'all read books to feel happy when you're sad?
What?
Yes. It's
Like,
therapy.
I like to
book is a
wallow a
comfort
little.
read.
I like to wallow a little bit. Is that just me?
No. No.
Glad we're on the same page. Got it.
Matthew.
I think I it's not off the table. I purchased the audiobook, so I might go for it again if I can stand the voices. I don't think I would physically read this book again, but I would listen to it again.
Okay. Ooh, Matthew, you have a specific question for you.
Oh, no.
Books you'd recommend based on what you'd like and disliked in this one. Your reading experience was similar to mine.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, goodness. If you're willing to do like a middle grade, I think Posted by John David Anderson might be an interesting one to try. Oh no, this is hard. How about this? Because I don't want to take up too much time. At me on Twitter and/or DM me, and I will give you some recs. Because off the top of my head, that's the only one I got.
Okay, our next question is, what is your favorite book series? I'll go first because it's really easy. It's the Cosmere, more specifically the Stormlight Archive. I think it's the best thing ever published. Boom.
Wait,
Unpredictable.
completed series or series that is completed? Like, or
it just says series. I don't think it has to be completed, so up to you.
Okay.
I'm gonna bring out mine. It's right here.
Ooh, Poppy.
I got the Illumicrate for it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Wow.
I know. That's how you can tell it's my favorite, because I never buy like exclusive editions of books.
If we're talking like fantasy series, there is a series called Awaken Online. It's a self-published lit RPG, so it's like virtual reality video game things, but it's also like fantasy. There are so many books in it. They're long. They're not the best edited, but they're so fun to read. And Awaken Online is the series. It's by Travis Bagwell. It's very like Mary Sue tropes. Everyone's so good at everything. Everyone has sassy. None of the characters are differentiated. They all just got those good one-liners. But it's just like it is juice. It is just so good. It is the most sugary drink to consume. And I've read every book in it that he has published, and they're a lot of fun.
Tiana.
So, no surprise from Blood and Ash. I need everyone to go read these books. I relate to Poppy and Cass a lot. If that says a lot about my character, I don't know what does. I love them so much, and like how we show the progress of physical abuse and into like a healthy relationship and just like extreme. That's it. Okay, we're done. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry. We're not crying today.
Oh my god.
I'm not crying. We're not. Nope. Mama didn't raise a bitch. Nope.
Okay. So I think this is going to be our last question, and then we're going to end. We're going to do our announcements before we end. But our last viewer question is, what's an anticipated new release of the year for you all?
Everyone can go first. I have a lot.
Okay. So there's a whole list that I can do. I'm just really bad at like new releases because I read a lot of backlist stuff, and then by the time new stuff comes out, I'm like, I'm behind. But the book that I think I'm the most excited to read this year is Gear Breakers by Zoe Hana Makuta. I want to make sure I'm saying that right. I think I did.
Saying it right.
Makuta. Zoe Hana Makuta. She's amazing. She's just like a very fun author and online presence, but also her book, it's like a sapphic, like romance sci-fi with like giant mechs and stuff. And I'm a huge giant monster fan. Like Godzilla vs. Kong is like my most anticipated movie of the year because I'm lame. But and so Pacific Rim, things like that, like giant mechs and also gay stuff, like just feed it to me, inject it straight into my veins. So that is just the first thing that came to mind for me. I'll
list a couple. For poetry, there's a poetry collection called Black Girl Call Home by Jasmine Mans that's coming out soon that I'm really excited about. For YA, there's a book called What Big Teeth by Rose Szabo, which is supposed to be kind of like a found family horror cutesy story. V into that. Deborah Levy has a new book coming out, and I stan her, so that's something. Milk Fed by Melissa Broder. 100 Boyfriends by Brontes Purnell. So many titles. I'm
Matthew has
also so many of them.
List.
Well, it's also like they all come out February 2nd. Like most of my most anticipated books are all just coming out at the beginning of the year. So I'm like, great, my wallet is gonna just be so small.
Tiana, you want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the third book in the From Blood and Ash series comes out in April. I'm looking forward to that one. I'm looking forward to The Heart Principle by Helen Huang because oh my god, I loved The Kiss Quotient. Let's see. I'm looking for. I didn't finish Chain of Gold. I literally have 20 pages left. I have not finished it. I'm looking forward to Chain of Iron coming out in March. I'm looking.
I need to catch up.
I know. I'm looking forward to A Court of Silver Flames that comes out in 2 weeks or so by Sarah J. Maas.
I've never read a Sarah J. Maas book.
There's no time. There's no time. Keep going.
The sequel to Black Sun, so good. I'm looking forward to that. And I think that's about it for my soapbox for that.
Okay, I'm just gonna list off the books that I did as outfits, which is The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He, and then Gear Breakers, obviously by Zoe, and then How We Fall Apart and Ace of Spades, both are dark academia books.
Yes.
And then Counting Down with You with Tashi Blee.
Yes. Oh my god, all of those. I cannot wait for all of those.
I just want to say that we asked for questions about the book, and everyone asked for questions about us, and I just think that that's nice.
Okay, so The House in why can I not speak? The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune was my pick for our first live show, but we have decided our February, March, and April picks. February is going to be hosted on Tiana's channel, March is going to be hosted on Matthew's channel, and then April will be on Ace's channel. So we are going to announce our picks and we'll put them on the social medias, after this. But yes, so our next book club pick is drum roll.
I know how. Yeah.
Legendborn by Tracy Dion.
Then in March, I don't have a copy yet. We'll be reading The Harpy by Megan Hunter. Don't know if it's good, but it's got a stunning cover and the premise sounds so interesting. It's also very short, so Legendborn's kind of our chunky book, and then we'll go to like a really slim book after, just to make sure that nobody's overwhelmed.
If you guys want to do like a quick like book description so our viewers know what they are. Tiana, you can talk about Legendborn?
So from what I know about this book, one, it's not me on the cover, but representation is
Tiana's on the cover.
Okay, all jokes aside, I know nothing about this book aside from that it's like a Legend of Author retelling with, and it's based on the setting of UNC, and I actually played lacrosse there one time, and that's all I know about it. So
I know it's kind of like Buffy-esque, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer-esque with like demons. So it has me hyped. I'm very excited for it.
Can't wait to cry.
And it just won like the Coretta Scott King Award. So like congratulations to Tracy Dion for that.
Can I say something real quick? Like real quick?
Yes.
My grandmother was a Black Panther actually, and he, if you know anything about Malcolm X, Malcolm X and King like really had different opinions on things. So I was this close to knowing like friendship wise, Dr. King. But yeah. Okay, continue.
Wow. Matthew, do you want to
The Harpy is, totally. Off the top of my head, me quickly scanning the Goodreads description. It's a domestic psychological drama, probably with some odd elements thrown in, about I believe it's a husband gets caught cheating on his wife, and the husband and wife decide to stay together, but the wife has added the ultimatum that she can hurt him 3 times. which
Juicy.
just like that premise is like so ominous and so intriguing to me. It's like the psychological thriller version of The Slap from How I Met Your Mother.
And Ace,
Okay,
would you like
I
to announce our
just
April?
quickly like read the one from Goodreads, but our April book is The Death of Vivek Oji. I can't pronounce the author's name, and it's about I just know that like a mom opens her door and then she sees her son's dead body in front of the door, and then we kind of like go through her son's life and her trying to figure out what happened, and so it's a literary fiction, so I hope everyone can read through it.
Yeah, I think the author,
Akwaeke Emezi.
her name is, yes.
Yeah, Akwaeke Emezi.
Okay, thank you.
So very excited for all of our next month's picks. And I hope you guys will join us for our live shows then. And if you are watching after the live show has ended in the future, hello, thank you for watching. And yes, so we will keep you updated with our reads, and in the future we might have some little special things as well, so stay updated for those. But just a big warm thank you to everybody who has tuned in either now or in the future. We love you. Thank you guys for supporting our very first live show, and we're very excited for the future of this club. So bye guys.
Bye.
Also join the Discord if you haven't already.
Yes.
It's in the doobly-doo. Bye.
Bye.